Top-tier Korean actors are popular for a reason. They are handsome, good at acting, and most importantly, they have the best projects. In most cases, their works on both the small and the big screen are either masterpieces, commercial hits, or both. But there are actually a few exceptions, and that's also today's topic. In this video, let's discuss the few times these Korean actors picked disappointing projects, both in terms of popularity and critical acclaim. Number 1. Gong Yu, Bae-duna, The Silent Sea. When The Silent Sea was first announced to be airing on Netflix, all K-drama fans could be found cheering. After all, this is one of the rare times South Korea decided to do science fiction, and with Netflix's outstanding budget to boot. For those who haven't watched, The Silent Sea takes place in this kinda dystopian future, where humans are running out of water and the privileged are hogging everything for themselves. The poor suffer pretty obviously. Anyways, to solve this critical water shortage, our leads played by Bae-duna and Gong Yu lead an expedition to an abandoned space station on the moon where they must retrieve samples of this curious material called moon water. I have nothing to complain about the cast, who is made up of Bae-duna, Gong Yu, and also Lee Jun for God's sake, nor do I find issue with the absolutely stunning cinematography we got to see. The series also provided us with a set goal for both of the leads and blessed the rest of the crew with their own tragic backstories. However, watching this supposed masterpiece, I got bored pretty early on. The creepy thriller aspect was done pretty well and kept viewers in suspense. But then things kept happening the same way at least 5 times on 5 different people, and it gets repetitive, especially when I have no emotional attachments. In addition, other than Bae-duna's character, every other role fell super flat. Most of the characters were just there as plot devices for half of the series, and Gong Yu's entire personality is that he was a good leader and that he had kind of a savior complex. It didn't help that everything was fast-paced in the first episode only for it to get exhaustingly slow the nearer we reach the end. The finale especially was not at all enjoyable to me, with overuse of flashbacks and certain glaring plot holes. All in all, The Silent Sea didn't manage to get as big as its initial hype, and I can see the reason why. I'd say it would work better as a movie, which makes sense because it was indeed adapted from one. Number 2. Lee Byung-hun, Shin Min-na, Kim Woo-bin, Our Blues. The thing is, Our Blues isn't doing too badly, with ratings around the 7 to 8% mark before rising to a whooping 11% in its latest episode. However, even such a performance wouldn't be considered enough when you have such a star-studded cast. And Our Blues has a pretty banal story writing that some people may call realistic, yet still feels idealistic to me. Surrounding people in a fish market on Jeju Island, Our Blues is just a tale of life. But instead of being a healing slice of life, which K-drama excels at, the series is a whole melodrama as it tackles various issues and suffering such as adult deaths, teenage pregnancy, and depression. I started out Our Blues by loving it. The story between Cha Seung-won and his attempt to use the now-rich Lee Jong-yoon to resolve his financial issue has both the cute and the hopeless moments. The couple's story in the past is extremely cute. And while their adult selves are both jaded by life and somewhat naive, it started out with a dramatic controversial trope but took the spin elegantly and created a beautiful story. However, I just cannot vibe with the remainder of the series, and aside from Han Ji-min and Kim Woo-bin's eventless plotline, the rest doesn't click. For starters, there's the teenage pregnancy story which boasted wonderful acting performances, and a pretty cute relationship, but that's it. I didn't like how both of the kids acted towards their fathers. Didn't like how pregnancies in the media always have to end with birthing the baby, while aborting is treated as a sin. And didn't like how the series tried to make it about love while taking care of a baby doesn't require just that. It just feels stifling and unpleasant compared to previous works that have tackled a similar issue, like 18 Again. For once, I find myself agreeing with the Korean audience when they begged for the plot to end so we can skip forward to better ones. What about the depression storyline around Shin Min-na and Lee Byung-hun? It hits pretty close to home in the emotions, the lack of understanding, and the unmotivated manner of living. However, it was too slow, too dragging, and there are scenes I don't see the point of. I also dislike the need for romance in a depression patient who struggles to love even herself. And the sudden kiss in the latest episode felt out of place and even somewhat offensive. Personally, other series like My Mister and My Liberation Notes do a much better job. Number 3. Lee Sun Kyung, Shooting Stars. One of the most recent disappointments in K-drama land is undoubtedly Shooting Stars, which stars the gorgeous Sun Kyung and Kim Young-dae, who rose to fame after the successes of Extraordinary You and Penthouse. Honestly, I have been waiting for this series since way back in 2021, even though many people claimed its premise to be cliché and boring. The series is all about the love-hate relationship between a top star and a PR team leader, who actually dated some time back, and so have this really complex relationship. It is pretty hilarious to see Young-dae internally rejoicing whenever the female lead is in the hemisphere, and the cameo list is simply astounding. So I tune in expecting some great laugh, but I can't find myself enjoying the drama. Right off the bat, we have this really odd episode where the male lead goes to Africa for a humanity campaign of sorts. And I get it. They are supposed to portray him as an idol with an angelic image who does charities. But this is just not the way. I hate how the series depicted Africa in general as this hopeless place with uneducated poor people and no resources, just so they can paint the male lead as a good guy. In addition, the series' humor was so a bit too tacky for me, with bathroom jokes and an extremely off-putting scene where the female lead hid in a men's bathroom, which is fine, and the male lead threatening to take off his pants if she didn't come out, which is what the heck? And to add to all of this, the male lead is an extremely rude guy. He constantly berates people for the simplest mistake, treats his staff like they are Lakers, and throws his erratic moods around as if he's the center of the world. We have finally moved on from the terrible shitty male leads and have decent charming guys, so I find the series a regress against the flow of current K-dramas. Well, with alarming ratings decreasing from 1.6% to 1.4%, it is pretty obvious that the Korean public is sharing my same thoughts. I don't know how the series is going to redeem itself, but hopefully it can manage it. Number 4. Park Bo-gum, Record of Youth. Looking into Park Bo-gum's impressive filmography, Encounter and Record of Youth just stick out like a sore thumb. Record of Youth especially has wasted the potential of two super talented actors, aka Park Bo-gum and Park So-dam. If you are unfamiliar with the series, then it follows the lives of three young people in the fashion and acting industry. Aside from the second male lead who was born to a rich family, the male and female lead both worked their way from the bottom and encountered numerous difficulties. At first sight, Record of Youth seems like a good show that highlights the power of determination, portrays the pressure from family, reveals the dark side of the entertainment industry, and most important, is filled with youthful spirit. However, that's just not the case. Instead of having a tired but determined male lead, we get a rather bitter guy that purposely left his dad out of an award acceptance speech, and did everything in his own way.
감사합니다.
We get strong female characters that later fell flat and have no personalities, and repetitive plot lines of Park Bo-gum getting targeted and overcoming it. I also dislike the fact that they had to insert a gay character and make him evil. I know they are trying to reveal this dark side of the industry, but is it necessary to make the evil gay when obviously the non-gays can also thrive in this plotline? Probably not. So in the end, Record of Youth just fell short. Park Bo-gum and Park So-dam didn't even get any complex character arcs, and I can't find myself falling for any of the characters. And that's the list. Of course, I have also found myself disappointed in some other recent series of famous actors, but time is running out. What about you? What are your thoughts about the before mentioned, and do you feel the same about other series with a famous cast? Let us know in the comments section. And if you want more videos like this, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Bbali Drama. We will come back soon. See ya!